Hello and welcome to Reddit on Reddit, the internet's auditory version of Reddit. I'm Nelson Allingham, joined by Michael Campbell.
Do you think that you do that so identically every single week that you would throw people off if you said a different phrase other than the internet's auditory version of Reddit? Do you think people would pick up on it and it would be weird, or would they do they zone out for that whole intro?
I think most people zone out for the first 15 minutes. So,
and then they're like, "What's this? Ask Reddit." Yeah, I don't mind that. I'll duck back in for a bit.
Yeah,
I'll duck back
start
out
paying
of shower
attention.
thoughts.
See if Nelson says something dumb again, and if he does, tune out for another 15. Most people barely listen to this podcast.
But the good thing in the new format is you only have to tune out once or twice, and the show's pretty much over.
The show's over. Yeah. If you're listening at 2 times the speed, you don't have to listen at all. Cambo, this is embarrassing this week. I got the words jacuzzi and yakuza mixed up. And now I'm in hot water with the Japanese mafia.
Very good. And just to be clear, that's an original one from you.
That's an original one. But if somebody had have said it online, I imagine their user Reddit name would be One Pacifist. But
there's no way of knowing.
There is no way of knowing. That's the only thing. I mean, I've definitely heard that one before too.
Yeah.
But, occasionally you get reminded of hilarious jokes.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes I watch a movie again that I've enjoyed. No problem with that. Why not tell a joke you've heard before? Yes,
that's true. Side story. This week, I watched The Martian again.
Yep.
I've seen it previously. Mm-hmm. That is a bloody great film.
It is, isn't it?
That is so good.
I've rewatched it in the last 12 months, I think. I was at home alone. It was one of those nights where, I knew I was going to be home alone. It's like, I'm gonna put on a good movie. And I just sat there in the dark by myself going, this is great.
It's so good the whole time. I
also rank it as one of the best book-to-film adaptions.
Oh, right.
The book is also very good, but and they've made slight changes in the movie, but everything they've done, you're like, yeah, I get it. In the book, he does journals. In the movie, he does video diaries. Things like that. You're like, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. It'd be funny if the movie version is you just had to read a lot. Just had still images on screen for a bit of a handwritten journal. It's I just thought, I had just sort of forgotten. I'm sure I enjoyed it at the time just as much as I did now. But I feel like it's one of those movies that, people don't necessarily talk about as being, an iconic, really great film. The reason why we watch this, my girlfriend talks about it more often than you'd think. And so we finally decided to rewatch it because it's her number one favorite film. Yeah. So
it's also, I think, got a better cast than anyone remembers. It's got a really good cast.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Also, I mean, all you really need is Matt Damon there.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he's the majority of the cast. But it's also famous for being, the year it was released, the Golden Globes, they've been accused sometimes of nominating films just so they can hang out with celebrities that come to the awards and such.
Yeah.
And there is a theory that they maybe wanted to hang out with the cast of The Martian, which led it to being nominated for a Golden Globe, but not in the regular drama category because that was full. It was nominated as comedy or musical.
What?
So everyone was like, well, I mean, he's kind of funny in the movie, but it's not a comedy.
Yeah, it's not a comedy.
And
maybe it was because of all those musical numbers.
Maybe, all the disco songs, yeah.
Funny. Anyway, if you want to really watch a film, I recommend The Martian.
Is that our ice-cold recommendation of the week? Because it's not red hot. Yeah. People have known about The Martian for years.
Oh, yeah. People know about The Martian. Yeah, that's right.
That's a red on red ice-cold recommendation.
Yeah. I feel like occasionally I've done that. Feel like, hey, here's this thing that everybody knows about.
Jeez, has anyone ever watched Arrested Development? I mean, get on it.
Anyway, okay, let's get into it. This first one is by Opposite Days. Would you rather have which lucrative / weird job? This was a poll, so there's a few.
So
and
would you
we've
rather
got
have
responses.
which lucrative or what job? Sorry?
Lucrative/weird job.
Okay.
I would say lucrative and weird job.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. Get paid $175 an hour for 20 hours a week. Sounds good so far.
Yep.
Insults are screamed in your face by random strangers for hours.
20 hours a week.
Well, presumably 20 hours. Yeah. Make $300 an hour for 30 hours a week. You are naked on all fours, painted like a cow, mooing in the grass outside.
Yep.
Make $300 an hour for 6 hours a week. You are waterboarded. They only stop after each hour. The maths on that is not good. You actually don't get that much money a week, really.
So how many hours?
6 hours.
And how much an hour?
So that's $1,800
a week.
A week.
That's like a normal job.
Yeah. I mean, I guess
you don't have to do it for long. You do it for like an hour and a bit a day.
Long. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Make $69 an hour plus $420 a day for each day you gangbanged in your ass. Oh my God, I didn't read this part.
You know what? It never fails, ever, when you've never fully read a post beforehand. It always takes a wild turn that you never predict it will.
I read the first couple and I'm like, yeah, this will be fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Gangbang in your ass on camera, I guess. Make $20 slash... Oh, I think it's meant to say make $20 per beer you drink, but you have to bring your own beer and you will be fired if you don't drink 6 beers a day. Okay, so you can drink as much beer as you want in a day. You get $20 for a beer, but you have to buy your own beer.
Yep.
Let's say beer, you could try and get cheap ones for like maybe $5 or something.
Yeah.
In Australia, $5-6 maybe. So you're really getting like $14 beer. Man, I could not do that. I wouldn't get much money before I'm just trashed and be throwing up and like also, I've lost an entire day.
This is a personal thing we've never shared, but you can't really drink beer anymore, so it would literally be bad for you.
Yes, true. Actually, do you want a fun story about that? Okay, so here's the backstory. We're going to go off on a slight tangent.
Yeah.
If you're going to tune out, now's a great time.
Nelson, they've tuned out. They've tuned out already.
So I got diagnosed with a condition called gout, which is what Cambo was referencing.
Yep.
It means that I can't really drink beer. What happens is there's like crystals that form in my joints because I have too much particular type of acid that I've actually forgotten the name of now. Now, I had one kind of episode, or I actually had two, and they were 1 week apart, and I had sort of conflicting information that it's like considered the one event. And then I spoke to a rheumatologist, which happened like months later. And he was like, okay, we're going to do all these things, and then we're going to like assess how, if you get another attack and blah, blah, blah. And so I did all these things, and then I said, I still haven't got another attack. And he's like, okay, maybe you don't have gout. He's like, and I said, well, what does that mean? Like, I had all the symptoms and everything seemed really exactly like that. And he was like, there is this, almost a tendon or muscle or like a nerve or something in your foot that if it's like strained or something, it imitates exactly the same way as gout does.
Wow.
So
you may not have gout.
I may not have. I might have it still. I don't know. I'm on the fence because he's like, some people might only get it once a year, and that's how infrequent it is. So I could still have it, but
well, if this turns out to be true, I'm going to have to change. Sometimes in social situations, I use that as my go-to. If someone's bigging you up too much, Nelson.
Yeah.
And someone's like, Nelson's great, isn't he? You know, he's so creative. He's been making games lately, and I go, yeah, but he's got gout.
Yeah,
that's my way to bring you down. But if you don't have gout, what am I going to do, Nelson?
Yeah. Well, You could say, oh yeah, well, he's got gout, or at least something that mimics gout.
Yeah, he could.
That'll
have gout.
that'll still get me. That'll still get me.
Oh yeah, he's all good and stuff, but he doesn't even know if he has gout.
He's like 50-50.
Yeah,
it's
I'm like,
pathetic.
Nelson, be a man and just find out.
Okay, anyway, back to it. I haven't even finished the last one. This is the last one. Make $7, again, I think, per chicken nugget you eat.
Okay, okay. And now listen. Tune back in, everyone.
Fast food only.
Yep.
Yes, but your own. What? 25 cents per fry. What? Let me read this again.
Okay.
Make $7 per chicken nugget you eat.
Yep.
Fast food only, but your own. 25 cents per fry. Same. That sentence does not make sense.
Well,
but
so it's saying you get $7 per chicken nugget or 25 cents per French fry that you eat.
Yes, I think that's basically what they're saying. Yeah. Okay, so that's all of them. Let me know if you'd like me to repeat any.
I'm weirdly leaning towards the cow one.
Yeah. $300 an hour for 30 hours a week. You're naked on all fours, painted like a cow, mooing in the grass outside.
Look, here's the thing. It's good to be outside. Yeah. I want to know what the rules are, but if I can pop in a pair of wireless headphones and listen to an audiobook all day and occasionally go moo, mate, you're fantastic,
Yeah,
I've been meaning to catch up on more books. This would be a great opportunity.
I also want to know if I can knock it out in less days.
Oh yeah,
so just have a few days.
So you do 2
where I'm there
days
for 10 hours.
Yeah, okay.
3 days of 10 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon that would be that'd be good.
That's appealing, isn't it?
But yeah, that's not too bad. I reckon. How do you reckon you would go with the first one? So this was actually the highest voted one, which was get paid $175 an hour for 20 hours a week. Insults are screamed in your face by random strangers for hours.
Look, I've worked in customer service and front of house, retail.
Yeah.
I feel I have been screamed, people have screamed in my face for a long time.
Yeah.
I reckon I've had people scream in my face for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It sucks. It really sucks.
It takes its toll, doesn't it?
It really does take its toll. So 20 hours a week, I don't know. I think that would be more mentally draining than people think.
Yeah. I actually totally agree with you. I think that it's one of those things where you're like, oh, well, I'm not being physically harmed.
I can just sit there and take
paid well, and I can choose to ignore them or whatever. But I think it's actually way harder than people probably think. So yeah, I sort of agree with you on that. Getting waterboarded for 6 hours, the math does not make sense. That's not worth it. And then getting gangbanged, not particularly a fan, but maybe I could see some people liking that. And then that's actually probably not that much either.
Yeah, I'm just looking at
look,
it here.
we're divulging this podcast, but it's not my fault because it was on there. I mean, I didn't read it. That was also my fault. But how long do you reckon you could get gangbanged?
Well, this is the question.
Because I imagine a few minutes.
I actually think that's the shortest commitment.
Yeah.
You could do that and still have a regular job.
Yeah, because it does say $420 a day as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So if
just once, a quick 15-minute.
Yeah. If you're really into having as much time as possible, you choose the gangbang.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you live off that money. But you don't live super fancy.
Yeah,
you know what I
mean? Yeah. The beer one, impossible. No way.
Yeah.
But the chicken nugget one, I reckon I could.
I think so too, but I don't think I would end up making that much money because I think I would just get full.
Just stop after a bit.
Yeah.
Here's the best thing though.
Yeah.
You pick this job up as a part-time thing, and then just occasionally, when you're hungry and want fast food, you get paid to eat chicken nuggets.
That's true.
And fries.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but not every day.
Yeah,
I'll just do it when I'm hungry.
That one. Oh, that's a good one. That one doesn't have a time commitment on it.
It doesn't have a time commitment.
Okay, yeah. So that means on the way home from any event, I can turn to Stacey and go, we'll get some chicken nuggets. Just quickly. We may as well stop in and get some chicken nuggets. It's good for you. It's good for me.
Do you want roughly $100? Let's go eat some chicken nuggets.
Chuck in a couple of fries. I'm not even after the money. I just want fries.
Yeah. I've heard it's good after a long day of pretending to be a cow and mooing.
Yeah.
To eat some chicken nuggets. So, win-win. Okay, Gambo, let's move on into Ask Reddit. Ask Reddit. This Ask Reddit is by is cross-posted to us by Avant Cardigan, but it was originally by 22 Sailboats. Cartoons included, who is the most annoying sitcom character?
Oh, most annoying sitcom character. I feel like every neighbor in a sitcom is designed to be annoying, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like sitcoms would posit that every neighbor you ever have is the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I think straight off the bat, if we're going for just most annoying sitcom character, we both don't particularly like The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And I feel like the most cringeworthy one in that is Sheldon. And
there's one that's like super creepy with women as well.
Yeah,
I don't love him either.
That's true. That's weird. Although that's not... although this does say specifically annoying.
Yeah.
Where I feel like that's not necessarily annoying. That's just weird.
I think with this one, I'm going to pick a character where he's the main character, but if you look at it from anyone else's perspective, he's the most annoying, which is SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
Like, think about anyone else in that show. Does anyone like SpongeBob SquarePants?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
He's always doing that dumb laugh. He's like,
yeah, that's a good point. Fuck SpongeBob. That's what I think. Maybe when you put it like that, now I'm starting to try and think of different sitcoms where the main character actually everybody would legitimately hate in real life. I mean, probably Community with Jeff Winger as the main character. He's actually very... You wouldn't want to be around him. None of the people would want to be around him after a day.
Well, I've stated this on this podcast before, but JD from Scrubs would just be the most annoying guy. There's a thing I saw recently. It was an edit where someone has edited out his monologue, and it just every now and then he'll be having a conversation, and then it will just cut to him standing silently, looking off into the distance, and then continue the scene.
Yeah. I think they do that in one of the episodes where you're actually in someone else's head, and then he goes to think about something, and they're just like, why does he always do this? But yeah, how about somebody that's maybe you think normal, that is beloved by everybody, but you personally hate them?
Oh, okay. Beloved by everyone, but I hate them. I'm.
Any other Simpsons, maybe? You Simpson hater?
No, I do love the Simpsons.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah. You know what? I'm not the biggest fan of a couple of the characters in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I quite like the show, but it's more that I don't find them very funny. Yeah. I don't find Terry particularly funny, and I don't find Gina particularly funny.
Yeah. I feel like I was on the bandwagon of...
Sometimes I find Jake annoying too.
Yeah. I was on the bandwagon of, I feel like Gina became way less entertaining. As a character,
definitely.
and unrealistic. And I liked her at the beginning with, and then I was like, oh, I think they just like... It was that classic case of like, to me, for my, I guess, first experience of this, and I would relate everything back to it, is Johnny Depp in Pirates of the Caribbean, where he was this kind of sub-character, and like that worked perfectly for that role, and they loved it. And then they came out with the next movie, and they made him more of a main character, and you were like, that ruined the character, because they needed to be this like sub-character to be interesting.
There's a term for it, named after a famous character that this happened to. It's called flanderization. Which means a particular trait about a character, whatever it might be, just becomes their character and they don't really have depth. And I think a lot of the Brooklyn Nine-Nine and I think a lot of the Office cast in later seasons is complete flanderization. If you take Kevin from The Office, for example, in the early seasons of The Office, Kevin is seen to be like quite a good poker player. It's kind of hinted at that maybe he has a gambling addiction. He's like secretly quite good at basketball, but he's just kind of an odd guy. And then you skip to like season 8 or 9 or whatever, and he's just the biggest idiot
he's the bumbling idiot.
He drops his chili everywhere or whatever. It's like that's flanderization. They'd be like, what's his thing? He's a big dumb guy.
You're like, this person would never be actually in this place. It almost like takes away from it entirely, I think, the show, because obviously that show is like ridiculous and over the top and whatever, but there's sort of a certain point where I feel like it makes it worse that there's an unbelievably like a character that's unbelievably stupid or something that like it actually doesn't fit in here. Like in the later seasons, like you said, I remember an episode where he makes up a number called a Kelevin. It's like, why did they? That just seems like such a poor thing to write into the story.
This human being couldn't exist.
Whereas
exactly. I think in the early seasons, he's actually an interesting character where people assume stuff about him, but it's not always true. And he's a bit weird and off kilter, but he's like he's a guy, you know. Which I think is just maybe the victim of having 23 episodes.
I think so. Like we've got to develop some of these B characters because the A characters. What's
Angela's thing? Is she religious? Cool, that'll be her whole thing. She's just always really religious.
And cats.
And cats.
I'm going to say it, Cambo, and only because no one else will, even though everyone else is thinking about it. I hate with a passion all the Golden Girls. All of them. They suck.
Every time one of them dies, don't you go, yeah, good?
I celebrate with a glass of sherry. I don't know. It seems like something they drink. All right. Kevin, let's get into Today I Advice.
So now it's time for Today I Learned.
Today I learned.
And also sometimes advice.
This Today I Learned is by Status Victory. Today I learned in 2013, a surgeon in the UK was struck off and convicted of assault after branding his initials in 2 patients' livers. It was only discovered when 1.6-inch or 4-centimeter initials were discovered by another doctor on an organ that he had transplanted failed.
Wow. That is pretty next level weird and possessive. I like to think, like, let's go with the assumption that is sometimes out there that doctors can be a bit arrogant, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That this other doctor opens up the person, sees the initials on the kidney, and goes, "Oh, nice,
yeah." I like the idea that it's like graffiti artists, you know, where like some of them, there's like this competition to get your initials.
Yeah.
In a certain spot around their initials so that yours are more prominent. I like the idea that a guy opened it up and he was like, I'm going to like turn your initials into my initials or something fun like that.
To be clear, this said branded, right? He didn't like cut it with a scalpel. He branded it?
I mean, I'm assuming the branding is not.
Yeah, like it's just a term. Yeah. Is branding a term that generally just means to mark something?
I think so. Yeah. I don't think he meant with hot iron.
Yeah.
Although
he didn't pull it out of the fire and then brand it and then put it into a bucket of water. And then
weird that they're in surgery. All the like nursing staff are like,
hey, that's why he did that.
Yeah, it's strange. He always said that he's just really cold and he likes to have a branding iron in a pot of hot coals. Here's my controversial opinion, Cambo.
Sure.
Who cares?
Go for it. Yeah, great. Look, you know what? knock a bit of money off the surgery, brand away.
Yeah, exactly.
You can put your business card in there, I don't care, as long as I'm fixed.
If he's considering that is a piece of art and he's the artist, if he, by being able to transplant it and he signs his work, Cambo, if he dies, my liver goes up in value. That's how art works. I could resell it.
Here's the problem, I think, and this is the only problem, Nelson, is didn't it say that the person had to go into surgery again and another doctor discovered it?
It did say that the organ that he transplanted failed.
Yeah, so then the other doctor's like, well, who did this? Got their initials right here. We know exactly who did this.
Idiot. Back to the scene of the crime. I'm assuming I definitely didn't click on a link like I never do. But I do wonder if it was naturally that it just didn't. It failed, as I think some transplants do. But I'm just saying it was directly because of the initials, okay, that's a problem.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying it's risky in that, like, when people sign a painting that they've done, and people see it and like, this is an amazing painting. Who did this? Oh, it's Rembrandt. Look, Rembrandt signed it.
Yeah.
But if your work is faulty or something goes wrong, you'll be blamed for it. That might not be his fault, but now that he's branded his initials into the... Everyone's going to be like, oh, well, there's this guy. He was the last one in here.
I like the idea that without the initials, you otherwise could never track down the doctor that transplanted your organ. So I think, Amber, what you're saying is that it should be mandatory for doctors to sign the organs that transplant so that we can track them down. I'm quickly going over the article. Nah, look, I think it's not really... somebody said it's a gross violation. Is it? Is it, Cambo? This is what I'm going to relate it to. If somebody was to masturbate over you, they saw your picture online, Cambo, and they're like, love me a bit of that guy.
Yep.
And then they masturbated.
Yep.
Are you violated?
No.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Do what you want.
I don't think I'm violated if that happens. So as long as I don't know that I've been branded, and which, by the way, I think only doesn't stand up all the time. So don't quote me on it. I don't want emails about this.
We've said it before, but I'm just going to say it again just in case. We don't want to be held responsible for anything we say on this show.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't stand by anything.
Yeah. Okay, I think we need to move on, maybe. Let's get into shower thoughts.
Shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts, shower thoughts.
This shower thought was by Automatic Candle 562. Men in older generations were more homophobic than our generation, but also more comfortable being naked around other men.
What are they basing that last bit on?
I thought this was funny because I actually I do get the picture of like men in change rooms as younger boys.
Yeah.
Sort of like everybody's naked, you're whipping each other and whatever. And more so about this day and age where I feel like there's like more privacy around locker room sort of stuff for kids where it's like, shouldn't be shamed for your body and shouldn't have to show it to anybody if you don't want to and stuff. I feel like there's kind of some of those.
Yeah, but I disagree with this a bit in that I think we're perfectly comfortable being around naked men. Like, maybe I'm just talking to you about you and I here. Like, I think we're pretty comfortable with our sexuality. A naked man's not going to change much, you know?
Yeah,
so it's like, yeah, man, hang dong. Like, do whatever. Do you? You do whatever you got to do there.
Yeah. No, I agree with that with, like, I feel like we're the same way. And in fact, perhaps, society as a whole hasn't totally changed. It's just that I think it's more acceptable now to be like, hey, me, as a young boy... doesn't want to be in a change room around other naked boys. And people are like, yes, that's acceptable because you're allowed to not do that. Whereas I feel like in the past, it was just like, everybody can get naked and like you don't have a choice about it. And, just some assumptions I think were made. And so, yeah, I thought it was just like, I don't know, mildly amusing that correlation.
You know what generally doesn't hold up with homophobia?
Yep.
Is any comedy you enjoyed from the mid-90s to the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
I've rewatched a couple of them over the last little while. The most recent one was The Hangover, in fact.
Yeah.
There's just some real homophobic stuff in them. And it's never the main point of anything. Someone will just say like a homophobic slur or something, and you're like, that's a shame.
Yeah. I mean, it reminds me, speaking about Community earlier, one of the most quotable things I think of that show is where Chang goes, gay!
Yeah.
Just in the way that he says it. And he doesn't even say it for anything that's like that crazily offensive or whatever. It's just like, but it just comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And looking back on it, it's just such a weird thing to be like, oh yeah, that was just kind of like, I don't know, funny and accepted and like...
Yeah, but
it just seems weird now. I feel like if a TV show came out and did the exact same thing, you'd be like, that's weird.
Yeah, it's yeah. And it's one of the things where like if you look at, let's say like an American Pie movie, a guy kissing a guy would be the grossest thing ever to those guys.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I can't believe we kissed. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But girls kissing Nelson, that was fucking sexy.
Oh, yeah, that was good. Here's another one. This is by Frank Lloyd Wrong, 3305. Serial killers must love self-checkout at hardware stores. Okay, sometimes when I get a shower, I really like to deep dive into it and think about it. And I was like, you know what? If I passed a serial killer in a hardware store, I don't know what items they would have to have in their trolley for me to be like, oh, this guy's killing somebody tonight.
It would be the classic, I think it's like shovel, rope, garbage bags.
Yeah. And I'd be like, I don't understand.
Maybe a hacksaw if they're cutting up a body or something.
Yeah, I'd be like, I don't understand carpentry. This seems legitimate things that you would need.
Yeah, you could be gardening. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Like, unless he's covered in blood. Yeah, and I'm like, in which case, I don't think the self-checkout is going to help too much.
It's like you're in front of him and he's like, hurry up, I've got a body in the car. You're like, oh, sorry. I would need that specific circumstance to go, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Something here is a bit off and I can't put my finger on it.
I just realized, here's a life pro tip to any serial killers. If you go into a hardware store, you're picking up a shovel to bury the body that you murdered, and you're covered in blood, put on some like painter's clothes, like overalls, or I mean like before the bloody part of the murder.
Yeah.
And then I think people will be like, oh, he's painting a nice red room.
Yeah.
Pick out something that would also go in a child's bedroom. And they'll be like, oh, he's just painting for his kid. That's cute, if anything.
Can I offer a second bit of advice for a murderer? If you're covered in blood, order online.
Order online.
And do
click deliver straight to your door.
Yep. Or then, if you need it like sooner, click and collect is a thing. They'll bring it to your car.
Yeah. That's true. That's more risky if you have your victim in the car. At the same time.
Just want it in the boot? No, not in the boot.
Don't mind that screaming. All right, Gambo. We should... probably move on to Podnapping. Oh, crap. Yeah. Move on.
Oh my God. I'm being podnapped.
Podnapping.
This is... Okay, first of all, I felt like the timing of this episode was going perfectly until I realized that it wasn't.
That's right. So, I don't think my podnapping's all that long.
Okay, good. This Podnapping, where in Nap Pod, we take a topic of conversation or a segment from another thing, and we do it ourselves.
You know what I'm realizing? I was realizing this today when I was reloading everything in for my Podnapping. I forwent it last week for technical reasons, but it was like it was literally set on my phone, and now as I'm loading up, I'm like, this isn't that good. People, I think now would be like, oh, he had to have an extra week to work on it. No. It is exactly as it was last week. It's just working now.
Yeah.
So I just want to, tamper
lower
some
expectations.
Of course.
Understandable.
So mine is a bit of an audio-based quiz, and it's similar to something that we've done before.
Okay.
In that I want you to identify famous noises or jingles. But what I was fascinated with particularly is in music it's called a sting, which means it's just a tiny little bit of music, but it's still recognizable.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple of stings here, which are either sounds or small clips of music, but they're very distinctly from something in particular, and I want to see whether you can guess them.
Okay.
Sound good? I've got 10 here.
Sure.
One is a slightly longer piece of music. I'll call that out once we get to that. But can you tell me what this musical sting is from? Shh.
Yeah. I mean, it's like at the end of The Simpsons. I don't
is.
know what it is.
Well, I was going to say I'll give you a bonus point if you could tell me the actual name of it, but you've identified it is from the end of The Simpsons. Once the credits are over, you get the shush.
Yeah.
Shh. And then...
What company is that?
It's Gracie Films.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would have been impressed if you had got it. It's a pretty tough one to get, but I think gettable, if you really know The Simpsons. Okay, you did well. All right, this is the second sting. What is this from?
HBO.
It is the HBO logo.
Yeah.
Well done. So I think that is... I think it says a lot about someone about what they expect to hear straight after that.
Oh, can I tell you? I know what it is, and I hate myself for
it. What is it?
It's Entourage.
Oh, see, for me, I think of the Sopranos theme starting to
play.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I think of Entourage.
That's very interesting, Nels. That's very interesting. Yeah, okay, cool. Can you identify? See, this is going to be pretty quick. There's only 10 of these, and you're really flying through.
That's good.
What is this sting? Now, here's the thing with this one. I'll play it again because I was talking over the start of it.
Yeah.
There's actually 2 versions of this, and I put them back to back. There's the classic and the more modern version. So I'm going to play it again. Are you ready? And it's going to play back to back.
Yeah.
So the first one is the more classic version. The later one, which is more of a whistle, is the modern version.
I thought it might be like a McDonald's
thing. It is McDonald's. Well done. It is the sting from the end of McDonald's commercials.
Oh, it's so weird. Because the first thing that came to mind was McDonald's, but I was like, but I can't actually like place it in my mind. Like the jingle was like, yes, that's McDonald's, but I can't like visualize in my head the ad or whatever when I've seen that.
I find this one really interesting because I think people recognize the tune, but I don't think it's like instantly recognizable as McDonald's. But it is the tune, and it has been for a long time, to a huge company.
Yeah.
You would think that would be like, oh, yes, I know instantly what that is, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay. What is this sting from?
Yes, that is the Windows startup music.
Can you tell me which one? It is a specific one.
All right. Windows 95, probably.
It's XP.
Oh, XP.
Yeah. But yes, that is the Windows startup. And then what theme song do you normally associate with? Is that Entourage again? Because you're bringing up Windows
I'm watching
XP.
it on my laptop.
All right, next one here. What is this thing from?
Oh, that's Netflix.
That is the Netflix logo. Okay, next one here. What is this from?
You wouldn't steal a car.
It's the piracy ad music. Now, I know that this was a thing in Australia, and I know it was a thing in England, but I wonder whether our American listeners
yes, maybe not,
would identify that. But yes, that was the famous anti-piracy ad in which they made some bold assumptions about what we would and wouldn't do.
What we would and wouldn't steal. Because as soon as you say yes to stealing one of those things, then piracy was deemed okay.
Yeah.
Basically. You wouldn't steal a car. Well, I would steal a car. Oh, okay. Then I guess you can steal everything else on this list.
It's nowhere near as bad.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, what is this sting from?
It's PlayStation 1.
well done, PlayStation 1. Specifically.
Yes, that reminds me of my childhood.
It's way longer than you remember it being.
Called Karashi. Yeah, that's true.
Probably because those consoles probably took way longer to boot than you remember.
Yeah.
Like, fucking hell, I better boot up whatever shitty RAM we have and play this terrible game that's not as good as you remember.
Yeah, exactly. There's like this game. So for some reason, whenever I hear that, I also think of there was on the demo disc of the PlayStation 1, there was a game called, I think it was called Karashi. And it was like a puzzle game. And it was like, going back to it, it is so bad. I think it's actually even on on the Game Pass at the moment on PlayStation as like an old product, and it's not a good game. I just remember it being really like fun puzzle game. But yes, anyway.
All right, I got 3 more.
Okay.
What is this thing from?
THX?
Yes, well done.
yeah.
THX.
That sting.
Which is the George Lucas-funded surround sound company. People normally probably recognize it from the start of DVDs sometimes. If you had THX sound on the DVD, it'll play that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a Dolby man myself.
Well, I mean, you're more elite than the others then.
Yeah.
With their shitty THX. What about this one, Nelson?
Oh, that one's tough. Can you give it to me one more time?
Yep.
It's like some clicking in there as well, like mouse clicking.
Yep. Do you think you've heard it before?
I don't actually think I've heard it before, but
okay.
maybe it's something I've heard so often that
maybe I'll play it one more time just in case. You ready?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Maybe I have heard it. It's not ringing any bells though.
No, that's actually, you've done very well, Nelson. Oh. That is the theme for Pornhub. So you
take
passed,
that.
You passed
people who
test.
think I watch a lot of porn.
That's
I'm a red tube guy for it.
And the last one, this one is a bit more local. This is a more Australian one. So apologies to some of our overseas listeners, but do you recognize this thing?
Yes, it is the Village Roadshow.
Yes,
sting.
Yes, one that we've heard maybe thousands of times in our lives, having previously worked for them.
That's right. People would have heard that before. Like, for example, The Matrix is a roadshow film, right? And I still feel like they
Ocean's
play
11
that. What's that?
Ocean's 11 as well.
Ocean's 11, yeah. And so I think they still play that, right?
Yeah,
at the start.
I don't know whether or not it's different at the beginning of movies. I specifically got that one. It's the cinema intro.
Yeah.
But yeah, the logo itself would be the same at the start of movies. I don't know whether they play that particular sting. So if people do recognize it, let us know. Yeah, that was it. That was my little podnapping game. Wasn't worth the wait, was it?
Cool, was not. It was rubbish. Also, we've got AMAs. This is also a long episode. Oh, Cambo, I didn't want to go over. We haven't done AMAs for
let's quickly do hazards.
Yeah, okay, we'll do hazard. As a fucking podcast listener, we need to read theirs first. Despite also getting, I think, maybe like 5 or 6 from Jeremy because he's went spam. Here's a fun tip for anybody. If you've sent an email in and we haven't read it out,
let us know. Don't email us.
Over like, let's say maybe 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Re-email that back in. We don't know what happened.
Yeah, let us know on Discord. Let us know on Reddit. But yeah, apparently some people are getting spammed in our inbox, so apologies.
Yes.
But we will get to them.
Apologies. Okay, let's do one.
This one here is from Hazard. It says, gentlemen cunts, this past week I learned that my country gets free entrance to the Cleveland Zoo on Mondays. So Chris and I went to the zoo today. And apparently dingoes are dogs? I've heard the whole dingo ate my baby story and it never even bothered to Google. Sorry, but Bing dingo, because I assumed it was some strange Aussie animal. But it's a dog? And the longest fence in the world is a dingo fence? So my question was, What was there animals that you always pictured one way, but it turns out they look completely different? Or maybe it just turned out to be a dog. Love you guys, Hazza.
Can I just say with this, I would like to argue, and maybe I'm just incorrect, but it's not really a dingo fence, but it's a rabbit fence.
No, they're two different fences.
Oh, they are two different fences?
Yes.
And the dingo fence is longer than the rabbit fence?
Almost double the length, yeah.
Oh,
so,
wow.
yeah. We have a very famous, it's called the rabbit-proof fence here, which goes along a huge section of Australia, and it is, as the title suggests, a rabbit-proof fence. But there's also, I think it's officially called the Australian dingo fence.
Right.
And it's like 5,000 kilometers long. It's really, really long.
Oh, right. I think it's just assumed.
I think it's through most of South Australia, from one end to the other, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I just assumed actually that they were the same fence. And yes. Anyway, well, there you go.
Yeah,
I learned something new.
Dingoes are just dogs. Yeah. Wild dogs, but dogs. They look like a sheepdog. A red sheepdog. I actually love dingoes. I think dingoes look beautiful. I actually think they're a really good-looking dog. I love a sheepdog. But yeah, they'll eat a baby every now and then.
Yeah, just every now and again.
Yeah.
But we won't believe anybody who says
No.
Do you get the baby eaten? Yeah, so was there an animal you always pictured one way but turns out it's completely different, or maybe it turned out to be a dog? I don't think so. Do you know what I love though? There's like this now this is going to be a bad story because I don't know the name of it, and I'm going to describe poorly this animal, but it's a cat technically, but it looks just like a dog, and it's like maybe I think like Japanese or something. I want to type in cat dog into Bing, but we all know what that's going to bring up.
Yeah.
Okay. No, wait. Let me type breed at the end. That'll do it. And I always just think, okay, it's not quite what you're looking for, Hallie, but I just remember seeing that and being like, that's the coolest thing, because it's like, I love cats, obviously, and but then also I could fool my girlfriend into thinking it's a dog, and it's a win-win.
Yeah. But also, I think that Hallie maybe didn't assume that we come from a country full of weird fucking animals, so nothing surprises us.
Yeah.
Look at a platypus. It's got a bill, but it lays eggs, and it's got fur and a beaver tail. Like, what the fuck's going on there?
Yeah. And we were like, whatever, I've seen an echidna before.
Yeah.
And that was,
look at a koala bear. It's like a teddy bear that has chlamydia.
Yeah. yeah.
That's a true fact,
actually, maybe that's something. Koalas, I would say in our youth are always depicted in a way that they, they look cute and cuddly, and they are, but they can look like vicious sometimes.
Yeah. They certainly can, yeah.
Which I think...
Like anything here, they'll fucking kill you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you can kind of like they got like fangs kind of teeth and stuff. So I think that can catch you off guard if you're not worried for it.
Also, they're constantly stoned, which is true, and they mostly have chlamydia, which is also true. So
yes, it's funny because there's like programs for it's like them and pandas. Where we've got people spending time and money trying to save him. I was like, they don't want to be saved.
They don't want to bone.
They don't want to exist. Let's just let them die off on their own volition. All right, that's the end of an episode. Thank you for writing in, Hazza. If you would like to write into us, you can do so. Reddit podcast, READIT podcast @gmail.com.
Yep.
You can also reach us at Facebook, Twitter, and our subreddit. They're all READIT podcast. They probably won't go to spam most of the time, we think. Maybe. So, and that's it.
Yeah, leave us a review, leave us a rating, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. Thanks for listening, and we will read you later.